I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone.
I know a lot of people that, for example, I have a buddy. He tried to do rental properties. I think he was in San Antonio. He had one bad experience. He said he'll never touch another house again.
Damn.
He was done with it. And I was like, for the most, I mean, at this point, I don't think I had a bad experience just yet, but I was just like, man, that's crazy. I mean, I can see that if your very first experience with the investing is a horrible tenant, I could kind of understand, that could get frustrated real quick, especially if you didn't have a property manager and you're the property manager, because a lot of people don't want to deal with other people, but then a lot of people want to try to save money, which kind of like screws them over. So it's like, if you can kind of like remove yourself as much as you can from the business in a sense, but have the systems in place, I mean, you can always make it work.
Do you currently still use property managers?
Yeah. So for the houses that I have here in Houston, I still do it. I still self-manage right now. But the ones that are out of the city or out of state, I do use property managers. Once I get a little bit bigger, then I'll use the property managers here in Houston. But for right now, I'm still self-managing those.
Gotcha.
It's manageable right now.
So my brother, through that first experience with the rehab, that was your second property. I kind of want to that was your third.
Yeah,
okay. I'm sorry, your third. So that was your third property. I kind of want to see what were some of the things that you learned that you implemented afterward, like some of the different strategies that you put in to avoid having to repeat those same mistakes, like going over budget, dealing with these people stealing your shit, stuff like that.
So it's actually crazy because I'm in the process right now of building a house here in the hood.
New construction?
Huh?
New construction?
It started off as rehab, but it's pretty much a new construction. It's pretty much a new construction. But yeah, so with it, I still, because I mean, with real estate, you're still going to get hit from time to time. Like I had electrical wiring got taken out of that house twice after we just got it inspected, about to put the sheetrock up, boom, got hit. About to put the electrical, they rewired it again. I want to say, because I was out of town, they ended up getting hit in the house again. And so, what you can do is, for example, in situations like that, when there's certain types of tasks that's going on, or you're in an area that it's high likely of theft with stuff like wiring, just during certain time frames of when work is going on, hire someone to be out there during midnight. You know what I mean? Have your neighbors kind of keep a lookout. So you want to kind of be friends with people that are around there, so you have more eyes on the ground if you can be out there. Another thing that you can do, and probably what I'll probably end up doing in the future is, for example, I have one of my guys, Jamil. He has some of these kind of automation system that runs without power or Wi-Fi, but you can still get notified too. So it's an investment where it's like $3,000, but that's an investment where it'll save you more than $3,000 or whatever is about to get destroyed or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? So it's just stuff like that. On the back end, just kind of having some of the contracts in place. Don't pay for work until it gets done. I know it's kind of hard, especially in certain bigger areas where you have to give a little bit of money up front, which is fine. Just don't go crazy where, you just, like I did my very first time, just give them all this money, even though work wasn't done just yet. And boom, now all of a sudden the contract is gone and you're scrambling, trying to make something shake, because I got fortunate that I was able to scramble up the money. Some people, they can't, and they got to sell the house as is, and then they're taking a big L. You know what I mean? So, just do as much as you can to mitigate the risk. And even if it feels like it's expensive, but it's just things that need to be done so that you can protect your investment.
I kind of want to hop into the BlackSeed Group.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
Yeah, so BlackSeed came about in 2017, and it started with me realizing, I think I was like 27 at the time. I was realizing that, you know, a lot of people my age, they weren't investing in anything. Like, you know, stock
Mm-hmm.
market. I'm like, stock market is so easy to invest. You just put your money in there. Shoot, you ain't even got to sell it. Just keep putting money in there and holding. Even if it falls, it's gonna go back up. Like, this is a hold. You know what I mean? Even if you invested in things that you use, just do that. But so like no one was like, not no one, but a lot of people weren't. And so I kind of like had made a post on Instagram. I was like, yo, you know, if you're interested in learning how to invest in the stock market, you know, I'm doing like one-on-one consultations. Like we'll meet up at like a Starbucks or something like that in Houston. And it'll be good. Like I probably had like 10, 15 people kind of like reach out and we did the thing. So I kind of like explain how the stock market works. Say, hey, yo, these are these brokerages. You can check them out. And this is before I think Robinhood really like started popping. And so I will do that. But the thing was, even after all that, even it being a good meeting, sometimes they didn't open up that brokerage account. You know, it sounded good, but it ain't close. So I was like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so that's where I was like, all right, what's one way that can force people to invest? And I can do it as well and still have my skin in the game. And that's where I started the investment club.
Mm-hmm.
Investment club, you know, we're all putting in $50, $100, $150 a month into this pot, and we're investing. And so now what's happening is people that never knew how to invest before, now they have a brokerage account. Now they're investing with someone who's invested before. I ain't trying to say, you know, I'm like Warren Buffett, but like I know what I'm doing at the very bare minimum, you know what I mean? So now I had it set up to where, you know, I had like a PowerPoint presentation / it was called a voice thread. So like if you were completely brand new to investing, then I kind of gave you like a stock market 101, what's the terminology, how do you read a stock chart, things of that nature. And that was part of the things that you got once you joined my group. And so we did that. And like I said, it kind of like it was one of the cool things that I find, I guess, comfort in knowing is that, you know, some of these people, like I said, they never invested before. But once they join the group, after a couple months, they open up their own brokerage account with like Robinhood or something. Mm-hmm. Now, alongside with a group, they invested by themselves. I, in a sense, just helped change their trajectory, their family trajectory, because now they learn how to invest. You know what I mean? They didn't have the knowledge. They didn't have the, you know.
They were scared at first.
Yeah, they're scared, but now they see that, okay, this can happen. Boom. Now they making thousands a day. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm over here helping people like change that trajectory for their family, and so that was really a big blessing, at least that I feel like with starting the investment club. So you know, we were doing that for about 2 years. And man, like we had to ended up shutting down the club just because of COVID. The platform we were using, it was called Volio. Their U.S. operations, I guess the investors, whenever COVID happened, they're like, we don't know what's about to happen. I guess they stopped funding it or whatever, so they had to shut down. And it was the worst time because this is right before Tesla boomed. And we had a good amount of shares in Tesla too. I mean, we made good money with Tesla, but like this was right before it went like
it went stupid during the pandemic.
So yeah, and then so we pretty much we were just at the 6-figure mark at that point before we disbanded. But you know, overall, like I could say that, you know, if you invested in me, you made money. We ended up closing the group down at a 46.6% return. You know, can't really complain about that.
46.6% in 2.5 years. Most people ain't getting that investing by themselves. And I'm glad you brought this up as the investing as a team. You mentioned the platform, Vallejo. I was going to ask you, like, for somebody that's interested in starting an investment club, how can you structure that out, like legally? Like, how do you get people to, you know, pool money together, and like, I guess have a entity set up behind that?
Yeah, so that's what I miss about Vallejo, because they made that thing extremely easy. Like, to be in a sense of fund manager, they made it simple. Like, because now you have to do in a sense everything manually. You know what I mean? Like if someone's trying to open a brokerage account, now you have to sign up a brand new account. You have to fill out all this information, and then you got to link them up with a bank account to because now you have to open up a separate bank account for all the funds. And now with that, because maybe not everybody's putting in the same amount, now you have to see how much this person put 50, this person has like a 50.
Yeah.
You have to deal with all those numbers. Like with Volio, they had that thing down packed. I ain't got to worry about it. So all you had to do was log into your account. You saw how much you put in. You saw how much the investment in now. You saw the total group's portfolio, and you were good. Like it was amazing. So like if someone had to leave, for example, you knew how much money you was about to take out. You know what I mean? And so now like a lot of that is very, very manual. Now you have to, in a sense, kind of like get form an entity, maybe an LLC or whatever, open up a brokerage account with like someone like TD Ameritrade or Scottrade or someone like that. Open up the bank accounts and just kind of it's 100% doable. It's a lot
more work,
a lot of labor, and just kind of like in a sense you might have to, because like the thing for me, and this is one of the reasons why I ended up shutting the thing down, I was doing this for free. I was doing it like all that money you took back out. I didn't
management fees.
I didn't know management. I didn't do nothing. This was all. I'll say this is my pro bono work for those fans. So yeah, I wasn't going to make my job even worse, not getting paid for that. Thanks. So I was just like, let me go ahead and we had a great percent return. Let me divest, give everybody their money back. In the future, if something like this happens again, and I'll bring it back. Obviously, I'll change a lot of stuff about how I did it, but it's just something that I'm not going to stress myself out about it for free.
I also wanted to get into the Airbnb. I seen that you also bought an Airbnb in the Houston area. How did that come about?
So this is what I talk about when I say I touched a lot of things when it comes to Airbnb or it comes to real estate. So I did Airbnb back in like 2015 on one of the houses that I bought out in the suburbs. And what will happen is I would be in Houston in the city during the weekend. So I'll just rent out my spot during the weekend. And it's kind of closer. So the people that come in, the obviously will be full. So they kind of come up to where I'm at, and I'll rent it out. And pretty much every weekend it was booked. So that's kind of how I got introduced to Airbnb. So I knew it worked. But since then, and then I ended up stopping for a while. And then this year I ended up getting back into it just as COVID started. Literally the worst time to do that. But I didn't buy the house. This is where I learned about rental arbitrage. And so I was able to lease out a townhouse from a guy. Let him know. I let him know that it was for, well, I didn't say Airbnb outright, but that it was kind of like corporate leasing and stuff like that. So he knew that I wasn't going like I kind of had a structure where, business people will come in for trips, maybe for like a week at a time, but this place will always get clean, this and that. And he was fine with it. As long as he was getting paid, he was good. So, I mean, that's one of the things you have to do. You have to let the people know up front, because if they don't want you to know and they find out, you're going to be screwed. I saw so many people, like, they do this with apartments, and the apartment find out, and then the apartment says, nah, y'all got to get out, and you owe the whole year's rent. I've seen it happen, so be truthful about it. If they don't want to do it, then just find someone gonna let you do it. You know what I mean? Just got to do it.
Somebody want that money, because at the end of the day, like you said, as long as they getting their money at the end of the day, shit, it's just like renting.
Right. So I did what's called rental arbitrage. I leased out the property, and I knew that the money I'll make with Airbnb will be enough to cover the property, or cover the lease for the month, plus all the other expenses. And so it was crazy, because like I started it up again, and man, these first I learned, man, Airbnb, like in the beginning when I was relearning everything again, I almost wanted to quit, because like that first couple of months, these guests were not being either lying on their profile, coming in, having parties, smoking weed, like leaving weed stuff everywhere. The whole house smelling like weed, like having these full blown out parties. This is a small little gated community. You can't be having all this stuff going around, So the neighbors are pissed off, and and then, I can't blame them, but it's not, and my whole intent isn't to have people having a party. So, things started happening where I was like, all right, let me get more, strict with who I let come in. Because in the beginning, it was just like people weren't booking like weeks out in advance. Like they'll probably book like a day or two before. So I'm like, man, I need to get some money this weekend. So I'll accept the booking. But this is like I said, I was doing it like in the beginning. I'm thinking of back in 2015 when people were actually being truthful on this stuff. I didn't have any of these issues on my old property. Well, when I started it again, now these people upgraded, evolved. They were like, I had people say, "Oh, we're here for a couples getaway. We just need something slight." Man, I look at the Ring camera. These niggas having a full blown party. I'd have been like, like you had to. So you ended up getting the cops involved and things of that nature. So yeah, it was a struggle, but as of a couple months ago, I was able to kind of rally that back and in a sense kind of like be a little more strict. So the quality of guests that were coming in got a lot better. And with that, I was able to get my super host status back because I had it whenever I did it back in 2015. But now I was able to get it back. So now my booking is considered a little bit higher ratings, a little bit more visible. And the price that you charge it can be a little bit more as well. So yeah, it's been good so far. I had signed a 2-year lease, so we're coming up, or I guess March will be the end of the first year, but kind of like going forward with that. And it's in a great area in Houston too. So once outside open up, I mean, I know Houston ain't really like shut down like that, but like once it's open up where like events and stuff start happening again, that's when those prices can really surge.
And even still with it, like through COVID and like all this craziness, has the Airbnb still been able to mostly maintain itself and like cover for the? So that goes to show like even more that's just still even a viable option during a pandemic.
Yeah. So with Airbnb, like the first couple months, Airbnb definitely took a hit. But one of the things that I did was I listed on Airbnb, I listed it on VRBO, I listed it on Booking.com. So I had it on these other places, and so I was able to get people from it enough to cover what I needed to get covered. Unfortunately, it came with some of these bad guests, but the first couple of months I was able to withstand that, and then even through it all, I want to say one of my better months came in like I want to say September, October. Those were really good months for me. So yeah, even with like I said, especially like I said with Houston, a lot of people their cities and states are shutting down, so they still want to go out, so they come down here. A lot of people, like for example, Chicago shut down. All of them, they came down here. You know what I mean?
Go to Houston to turn up.
So Houston, Airbnb at least here has been fine.